So it's news update time once again for Marvel's Avengers, and we actually have a whole lot to cover today. We've got 4 different areas really that we will be talking about. Firstly, we have the updated roadmap. I'll show that off and I'll give my thoughts on it as well. We then have a bunch of new leaks that have came via Miller, so they certainly look very interesting. We have a new villain that's been teased for the game. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to show the tease, or we're going to show what we believe to be a tease for them. And then finishing up, I'll give my general thoughts on the Cosmic Cube boss fight that was recently introduced to the game as well. Now, before we jump in and we start off with the updated roadmap, if you're enjoying the content, take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button. It really does make a huge difference in regards to YouTube and how they actually recommend the channel if you engage with it. So yeah, if you're enjoying the content, take the time to do that. But let's jump in and we'll start with the updated roadmap first. So this is the updated roadmap here. We have 2 significant changes to it. The first one is where at the moment we can see the Super Adaptoid coming in July. So that's our first Omega level threat at last. But where that's shown, it previously used to be the patrol mode, but that's now being delayed. There's no specific date for that at all. I would rather it wasn't delayed, but it didn't look to be in a place it needed to be at all. What we knew of the mode, it was in the wasteland on a large map. You would get respawning enemies, respawning chests, and random bosses spawning as well, which sounds nice enough. However, as far as I'm aware, it was still going to have a 4-person limit and no drop-in, drop-out co-op, which it really needs to have. So I would rather see this delayed and done right rather than coming out on time and not being up to scratch. Kind of what happened with the champion system. It came out in time, but I'm not happy how that actually turned out. But looking at July now anyway, as mentioned, we have the Omega level threat that's coming again. It's a Super Adaptoid. Alongside that, you have your multiplayer Mega Highs. You can play as any combination of your favourite heroes permanently. So that was the Tachyon Anomaly event we had back in April. Essentially that is now live, and that's fantastic. That's an absolutely awesome change. So when Black Panther does come out, we can play with our friends, and more likely you'll have a team of 4 Black Panthers running around, which will look pretty awesome. But yeah, that's a great change, but they are bringing that in next month, and then more outfits inspired by the MCU. We had a closed door meeting to show off this roadmap, and they did talk about 4. They didn't give anything too specific, but they've not forgotten. That's all I can really say. Like, they're not going to leave them out and do all the other heroes. Something will be happening for 4, but what that something is, I'm not quite sure. The next significant change, it's actually a small one, and a lot of people may actually miss it. On the original roadmap, under the War for Wakanda and the various different features for it, you used to have the power level cap increase shown under there. That's actually moved in development. That for me is potentially really pretty worrying. I was really looking forward to the War for Wakanda expansion and going in and having a new cap to actually grind towards gear wise, but possibly what they could do is they could bring out gear that's the same power level, but it does have more interesting and better perks. In a way, you'll still have to grind. But this does worry me a little bit why they've actually done this. Let me know specifically in the comments below what you think of this. The fact they've moved the power level cap increase out of the War for Wakanda expansion just to the in development section. Yeah, so that is the updated roadmap anyway. Now next up, let's talk about the various different leaks we've had from Miller recently. So with this information here, it looks like it's came potentially via playtesters rather than data mine. I think data mines are all but shut down in the game. I've also had someone that's reached out to me and said that this information is legitimate. I can't really say any more than that, but I've had someone reach out to me and say it certainly looks to be legitimate. So just a run through it here. It starts off pretty big reveal here. We knew there would be villains in the War for Wakanda expansion. It confirms that alongside Claw you'll have Crossbones as the second villain. You've then got a Horde mode coming in War for Wakanda, and this could be pretty fun, and I think it seems fair enough this would come to the game because it would just in a way be a variation of the new Harm training room we've got, where we can have a huge amount of enemies spawning. So just something like that, but it's a mode to go as far as you actually can. With a new faction joining S.H.I.E.L.D. and Inhumans with the War for Wakanda, that I would say it makes sense that is going to happen. We'll have a Wakandan style faction. The Wakandan mine raid is not dropping the same day with War for Wakanda, so that's a pretty big oof, and it's a little bit worrying just for the reason being that initially the Omega level threat with the Super Adaptoid was supposed to come with Kate in December 6 months ago, and it was delayed that long. So let's hope that really doesn't happen with the Wakandan mine raid. The next section I'm going to jump up, because I actually missed one here by mistake, is new enemy types for AIM and the Watchdogs and War for Wakanda. We've already seen that to an extent with the spider style robots. We've got new free skins with War for Wakanda. You've then got your Super Adaptoid, a mega level threat. Release date news is coming tomorrow. We already covered that in the roadmap, so we know that's legitimate there. New weapon skins coming with Wakanda. Again, we've already seen weapon skins. We've seen 2 additional weapon skins for Cap now. With his shield, you've got his MCU shield and you've got the steampunk one. So we know that they are in the game and they'll be looking to expand on that. New gear sets coming for Wakanda, so that's good, something to grind for. Even if the gear cap doesn't go up, it will be relatively fun if we've got new gear sets, even if they're the same power, as long as the perks are interesting on them. The story beats of Wakanda leaves a particular non-playable character in an interesting position. That's a really open comment, it can mean a lot of things. Hopefully it's something to do with Nick Fury. I want to see him coming back into the game now that the Cosmic Cube is actually done. They are discussing updating particular skins, like adding hair to MCU Hawkeye. Now, depending on how they do this, it can be a massive win or a massive fail. So what they should really do, when they've realised how passionate people are about the mohawks and the braids on these different characters, what they should really do is add them in and give them for free to people that actually bought the original. So let them keep the original costume, but give them this as an additional costume as well. So if they actually preferred the braid and Black Widow, the mohawk and Hawkeye, then they can switch to it. What I don't want to see them do at all, it would be a massive fail and it would just destroy a lot of goodwill, is bring this in but actually charge again for it, even if you bought the original. I just really hope they do not do that. It would be an absolute disaster if they do, and it will just piss everyone off. Moving on from that anyway, Black Panther Heroics, and again from the source I've got, this all looks to be legitimate. So Kimoyo is the support heroics, that'll be some kind of heal. You've got Speed Assault, and then you've got Panther Ultimate, and then finally it says Patrol Mode is coming in July, so that's the one part that's actually incorrect, and we covered that in the roadmap. It looks like Patrol Mode will probably be around about September at the earliest, but once again someone has reached out to me, someone in the new, and said this all looks to be pretty legitimate. So everything bar Patrol Mode, I think there's a really good chance it could be happening. So that's everything from Miller that came there. So let's now jump in and we're going to talk about a second potential villain that's been teased in the game. So this cutscene that I'm going to play in the background here, it was actually very easy to miss. After you finish the most recent Cosmic Cube event, the Moniker Villain Sector, you had to go back to that hill and you would get a cutscene with the Avengers. After that cutscene, you would get this one here. So you can see the Cosmic Cube has been placed into some kind of place that within that containment area, and then you can see opens the door and he goes back in, and he's most definitely intrigued by the Cosmic Cube, and it looks like potentially this could be the start of an Ultron storyline, because he interacts with the cube and then who knows what really happens from there. Now, supporting evidence alongside this was a little while ago on Twitter. We had EddieZ115, who is another data miner, who found some references to Ultron within the actual game. So if you put the two of them together, I'm pretty certain Ultron will be coming. When, I'm not sure, because personally I'm hoping after the War for Wakanda expansion we move into space and Captain Marvel and the Kree, so I'm not sure when they would fit Ultron in, or if it's just a little tease. Although saying that, if it's a little tease, why have we got lines of code in the game from? But yeah, that's really pretty interesting there. Now let's just finish up, because I've not discussed it yet in any other videos, let's just finish up with my general thoughts on the Cosmic Cube boss fight, because it's actually really important for the game going forward, the new style of boss fights they're looking to have. Before I do break down the pros and cons in, I would say that I think it's really important going forward for the game that they do move away from your boss fights like your Taskmaster and your Abomination, where in a lot of instances you can just actually one-shot the bosses and there's not a great deal of strategy behind them at all. So I really do like what they've done. But moving into specifically the Cosmic Cube, visually it looks absolutely incredible, so I love what they've done in that respect. And again, I've touched on this to an extent already, but it's great to have an enemy that isn't just a damage sponge boss fight and you need to actually use some tactics within it. Onto the cons of it, I would say that they need to be wary when making these boss fights. They're actually balanced around different play styles. Like for example, this boss fight can be exceptionally hard on melee only characters. I've no idea, to be honest, how you would actually do it on Miss Marvel, because a ranged attack, I'm pretty certain, isn't long enough to actually reach Monica during the stage when she can take damage. So yeah, that's something they need to be wary of. It's very easy in ranged, but melee can be a bit of a nightmare. They also need to really take into account the player AI and make sure that the player AI actually uses mechanics within the fight. So as an example, when you actually take the shield down in Monica, if you don't damage her enough, then what she'll do a one-shot attack unless you hide behind one of the 4 pillars. Now your AI doesn't actually hide behind the pillars at all, so if she does that particular attack, straight away you have your free AI taken out. So definitely a massive step in the right direction, but it's far from perfect, but it's definitely a massive improvement over your Taskmaster and your Abomination fights. So long may this continue, and fingers crossed they'll be able to refine it more as they actually do go on. But that's everything there. It was a whole lot to cover actually, so let me know what you think about all this in the comments below, and as always, if you've enjoyed the content, take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button. It really does help out, and I'll see you all again soon.